Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I will be sharing with you 10 tips for a successful Sweet Treat Showdown in The Sims Mobile. My first tip is to try your best to win the challenges. And from my personal experience, I find that anything above 94% usually is successful. There has been some times that above 94% hasn't been successful. Obviously, you can take a gamble and go with a lower success rate if you are really trying to do the 8 rounds, but it is a bit more risky. My second tip is to try to conserve your sugars. This is because you only get 30 sugars for each challenge, and this has to last you for all of the rounds in the challenge. So for example, here I have 7 rounds and I have 30 sugars. So any sugars I use in the first round, I can't use in the second round. So for example, if I use 10 sugars in my first round, I will only have 20 sugars in my second round. And then if I use 5 sugars in my second round, I will only have 25 sugars in my third round. So I will go around clicking each icon to see how many sugars I will need to spend to get the highest amount of success rate percentage. I know it's super nerdy. Sometimes I even use a calculator, but when you're really desperate to get that jacuzzi or a bathtub, you gotta do what you gotta do. My next tip is to watch ads. I know it's like a ploy to make you watch ads, but this will increase your percentage success rate without using up your sugars at all. And I feel like Sims creators put so much effort to make this challenge for us, we might as well watch an ad for them. Another tip is to save up your simoleons. So before a Sweet Treat challenge starts, I usually make my Sims go to work and have a good store of simoleons. You can use this instead of spending your sugars, and your sugars would then last you for more rounds. After the challenge is over, if I have an available sim who's not doing the quest or something, I will make that sim go to work so that I can have more simoleons for my next Sweet Treat challenge. My next tip is to look for hidden prizes. So sometimes you can see these icons have a royal treat token, and those are really hard to earn. So if I'm running out of sugars and I know I can't last until the next round, I will spend my sugars to get one of these royal treat tokens. Sometimes if I'm not really into the Sweet Treat Showdown challenge, I would rather have cupcakes and sim cash for another challenge. So I use my sugars for that instead. My next tip is try not to use your cupcakes during the challenge, because you can save your cupcakes for things like quests or another challenge in the future, which has like a nicer item that you want. For me, it would be a jacuzzi. I personally also wouldn't use my sim cash, because you can use your sim cash to buy furniture and cupcakes in the future. My next tip is to leave a challenge early to prevent losing everything in your basket. So I would again calculate how many more sugars I have and if it's enough to do the next round. If it isn't enough, I would leave early just so I wouldn't lose the things in my basket. My next tip is to do long events overnight. So you can do the Sweet Treat Showdown events themselves, things like Flavor Lab, Posh Pastry Class, and the Home Sweet Home Baking event. You can also do normal events, things like a long hobby event overnight or make your Sims go to work, because The Sims Mobile sometimes randomly awards you with treat tokens whenever you do an event. And this doesn't necessarily have to be overnight, but doing these events overnight is a productive use of time. My next tip is an obvious one, but complete the quest. So Sweet Treat Showdowns usually come with a quest. For example, in this Sweet Treat challenge, there are 8 challenges for the quest, and you have to complete them within 11 days. But once you complete the quest, you get these royal tokens, and royal tokens are really hard to get. My last tip is to plan for Sweet Treat quests. This is super nerdy, but this doesn't just apply to Sweet Treat Showdowns, but to any kind of quest on the Sims mobile. So what I usually do is I like to know when the challenge will start, especially if it has an item that I really want. And you can do this by going on the EA website. For example, in this Japanese update, it has the dates for all of the challenges, so you know exactly when they start. The Sims Mobile subreddit is also a really good place to get updates and also additional tips and tricks. Having that early start date means you can start your challenge as soon as the clock goes. For example, this challenge, as soon as it's 13th July, just start your Sweet Treat Showdown. Another thing is that there are some really good Sims Mobile bloggers and Reddit posts that break down every single challenge in the quest. And for example, in this particular Sweet Treat Showdown, it has 8 challenges that you would complete to get these 10 royal treat tokens. And some of the quests are actually super hard. So having a breakdown of all of the challenges helps you plan and to plan things in that time frame. So maybe it doesn't really apply to Sweet Treat challenges, but it can help. Thanks so much for watching. I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions, please leave them below in the comments, and I will see you in my next video.
Ladies and gentlemen.